Hi Fairies, this is Lena Rissa, your Misty Peak reporter. Today news is the new communities in Misty Peak called factions. Faction means in Misty Peak is a group where all elements have groups which call factions. Anyways, here's the faction name that biased on elements. We have Earth faction which called Valor of Cephas, and in Earth faction where Leo, the faction leader of Valor of Cephas, he's the one who leading the faction, and there's also Earth Council who help leader of any problems. And here's the logo of their faction group. As you see, the logo is still named Cephas. And now we're moving on to the next faction group. This faction group is now an air faction group where the member casually named Air Fairy and the leader is Pax. He is the leader of air faction, their group faction called Fairies of Lenora, and here's the logo of their faction. As you also see, it's literally a logo of air fairies. And now let's go to Fire Faction, a fire faction where also fire users are joined, and the faction name Flares of Mahuka, and the leader of the faction is Zack, and the rest are Fire Council and Fire Faction members, and here's their faction logo. Now we're in Water Faction where member of the faction are water users, and the name of their faction are Sirens of the Tides, which I really found that faction name so cool, and the faction leader is Lilith, and here's their logo. Okay, now we are gonna go to Light Faction, and their faction named is Luxalaria. Also really found that pretty, and the leader of the faction is Blue, and here's their faction logo. Okay, the last faction group is the Dark Faction, which called Vantablic Fairies, and the faction leader is Polaris, and here's their faction logo. Okay, now let me explain how faction does, or how it will affect a player in game if they're in faction, and how you will join. Okay, so at first, I really expect that faction will something affect you if you play the game, but no, you still gonna be a normal player for now because the owner and admin said noting will change your perks if you joined as a faction member in game. The changes only is you're a part of a faction, like something will changes in their Discord server and will give you a role, but in a den said to me they might add some buff damage whoever joined in faction, but I'm not sure of that, I guess. Okay, now how will you join in one of the factions? You can join by applying. When they announce that you can apply, they will release a Google form and you gonna answers form, and you will just wait. You can pick if you want to be council or a member. You're lucky if you passed, but if you don't, you still have a chance. Bakehouse, they announce always if they hiring new members. You can also pick a faction like you want to join. In Luxalaria you can join, but if they not hiring you can wait for it. Join our Discord server to join factions. The link will be dropped in description. By Fairies, don't forget to subscribe for more Misty Peak news. Bye flops.